Awakening is often romanticized as a state of constant peace, clarity, and happiness. Many teachings, videos, and books make it seem like the moment you become aware, life suddenly transforms into effortless serenity. The truth, however, is far more complex. The first truth about awakening is that it is deeply uncomfortable. It is not a moment of flawless bliss, but a profound disruption of everything you once took for granted. When awareness expands, illusions begin to collapse. Beliefs that once provided comfort now feel hollow. The identities you built around your family, career, social circle, or even your own self-image can suddenly feel restrictive or false. At first, this shift can feel disorienting. You may question choices you thought were solid, relationships you assumed were permanent, and values you once held sacred. Patterns you once ignored, habits, attachments, reactions, become glaringly obvious. The life you thought you were living confidently suddenly appears shallow or misaligned. This inner disruption often brings confusion, restlessness, and even a sense of loss. Many people hide this phase of awakening because it does not match the idealized image of enlightenment. Nobody talks about the nights spent questioning everything, the days when clarity feels just out of reach, or the moments when it seems like life itself is challenging you to grow. Yet this discomfort is not a flaw or a sign that you are failing. On the contrary, it is an essential part of awakening. The discomfort is a signal that you are peeling back layers of illusion, confronting truths that you may have ignored for years, and moving closer to a life that is authentic and aligned with your deeper self. When you begin to recognize these illusions, you start to see the patterns that have been controlling your behavior without your conscious awareness. This awareness may feel threatening because it challenges your sense of security and predictability. Many people resist it, preferring the comfort of ignorance over the challenge of growth. Awakening also forces you to face your emotions in their raw form. Fear, sadness, anger, and regret that were once buried beneath distractions suddenly surface. It is natural to want to escape them, to return to the safety of old routines and familiar distractions. But true awakening requires that you stay present with these feelings, observe them, and allow them to transform. This process is uncomfortable because it asks you to abandon old coping mechanisms and face life without filters. Finally, it is important to understand that this discomfort is temporary in the sense that it is a passage. It is a phase of growth, not a permanent state. Once you move through it, you begin to experience clarity, authenticity, and peace, not as an abstract ideal, but as a lived reality rooted in honesty. Embracing this first truth, that awakening is uncomfortable, is the key to navigating your journey with patience, courage, and self-compassion. It is not about seeking constant comfort. It is about allowing yourself to be fully awake, fully alive, and fully real, even when it feels challenging. This first truth, or rarely spoken about, is fundamental. Awakening is not easy. It disrupts, challenges, and even frightens. And yet, it is in this discomfort that the seeds of true transformation are planted. Second truth about awakening is one of the most challenging. Awakening separates you from many people you once felt close to. As your awareness expands, your values, priorities, and perspectives begin to shift. Conversations that once seemed meaningful may start to feel shallow. Activities that you once enjoyed may lose their appeal. Even relationships that once felt supportive may begin to feel draining or misaligned. This separation is not a punishment or a failure. It is a natural consequence of growth. Awakening changes the vibration you carry, and not everyone around you is operating at the same frequency. Many people underestimate how deeply this separation can impact their lives. At first, it may feel like loneliness or rejection. Friends you once confided in may no longer understand you. Family members may resist or feel threatened by the changes they see in you. Colleagues or acquaintances might struggle to relate to your new outlook. The world you once fit into so comfortably suddenly starts to feel smaller, and the sense of familiarity fades. This can create a tension between your desire for connection and your need to live authentically. The separation that comes with awakening is not about superiority or arrogance. It is about alignment. You are no longer willing to compromise your inner truth for comfort, convenience, or acceptance. Where you once tolerated gossip, superficiality, or constant validation, you now seek depth, honesty, and substance. Your energy is finite, and awakening teaches you to invest it wisely. This shift often requires difficult choices, declining invitations that no longer serve you, ending relationships that were based on old versions of yourself, and choosing solitude over forced connection. This distancing process can feel painful because it challenges deeply ingrained beliefs about love, loyalty, and belonging. Society teaches that the measure of a person is in how many connections they maintain or how socially successful they appear. Awakening challenges this notion by showing that authentic connection matters more than quantity. The people who remain in your life after this transformation are those who resonate with your true self. They are aligned not because of convenience or habit, but because of shared authenticity. Many never speak of this truth because it is uncomfortable and counterintuitive. Most spiritual or self-help content emphasizes harmony, togetherness, and collective enlightenment. The reality, however, is that awakening often requires periods of solitude and disconnection. These periods are necessary for reflection, integration, and personal growth. They are not signs of failure or inadequacy. They are a reflection that your inner world is expanding and that the old dynamics can no longer contain your evolving consciousness. Ultimately, this separation is a form of liberation. It removes people, habits, and environments that no longer serve your growth. It clears space for more meaningful, authentic relationships and experiences. While it can be lonely at first, it is an essential stage in awakening. It teaches you the courage to honor your truth, even when it comes at the cost of comfort or familiarity. This is the second hidden truth about awakening. Growth requires discernment, and discernment sometimes means walking alone until you find your true alignment. This truth, though rarely acknowledged, is necessary. Awakening is not about pleasing others or maintaining old patterns. It is about stepping fully into your evolving self, even if that path temporarily isolates you from the world you once knew. And in that space, real transformation begins. The third truth about awakening is often the hardest to accept. Awakening does not remove suffering. Many people begin their spiritual journey with the expectation that awakening will bring constant joy, inner peace, and freedom from pain. They imagine a life where challenges no longer affect them and emotional discomfort fades entirely. The reality, however, is very different. Awakening does not eliminate suffering. What it does is change your relationship with it. Pain still arises, loss still occurs, fear, sadness, and uncertainty still visit. But instead of reacting unconsciously or running from it, you learn to observe, acknowledge, and integrate these experiences into your growth. This truth can feel heavy at first, because awakening removes the safety nets we rely on to avoid responsibility. Before awakening, it is easy to blame external circumstances, other people, or past events for the discomfort we feel. We can remain passive, distracted, or numb, hoping life will somehow fix itself. Awakening challenges this tendency. It teaches that responsibility begins with yourself. You can no longer hide behind excuses, habits, or distractions. You are called to witness your inner world, to confront your fears, and to take conscious action in alignment with your truth. This responsibility is not always easy. It can feel overwhelming because it requires honesty and courage on a daily basis. Suffering in the awakened state is not punishment, it is a teacher. Each moment of discomfort carries a lesson about yourself, your attachments, and your patterns. Awakening teaches you to feel fully, without being controlled by your emotions. You begin to notice the difference between experiencing pain and being consumed by it. You learn that you are not your thoughts, your fears, or your emotional reactions. You are the observer of them. This subtle shift creates space for clarity, growth, and resilience, but it does not remove the rawness of the human experience. Many avoid speaking of this truth because it challenges the appealing narrative of awakening as a blissful state. Most spiritual content focuses on happiness, enlightenment, or transcendence, leaving the real struggle unspoken. The unspoken reality is that awakening requires emotional maturity. It demands that you embrace the full spectrum of human experience rather than seeking constant escape from discomfort. Every challenge, every painful realization becomes a mirror reflecting your inner state. Avoiding it only prolongs the journey, yet within this third truth lies the greatest liberation. When you accept that suffering will always be part of life, fear loses its control over you. You no longer resist what arises. You no longer depend on circumstances or other people for happiness. Pain becomes a teacher, a guide, and a reminder to live consciously. You begin to see that suffering is not the opposite of awakening. It is a companion to it, shaping your growth, your compassion, and your understanding of life. This truth, though rarely discussed, is essential. Awakening does not protect you from the challenges of life. It does, however, give you the tools to face them fully, without denial or avoidance. It transforms your relationship with suffering from one of resistance to one of awareness and integration. To awaken is not to escape life. It is to meet it honestly, to feel it deeply, and to grow through it consciously. And in this process, real freedom is found. These truths about awakening, the discomfort, the separation, and the persistence of suffering are rarely revealed because they are uncomfortable to hear. Most teachings focus on the inspiring, the uplifting, or the magical side of spiritual growth. But awakening is not a storybook journey. It is a process that asks for courage, honesty, and patience. It asks you to strip away illusions, face the realities of life, and take responsibility for your own consciousness. And not everyone is ready for this responsibility. That is okay. Awakening is not a competition, a trend, or a badge of honor. It is a deeply personal and often solitary journey. Understanding these truths can prevent confusion, self-doubt, and frustration along the path. When you know that discomfort is natural, you stop judging yourself for feeling unsettled. When you understand that separation from people or situations is part of alignment, you stop feeling abandoned or unloved. When you realize that suffering will continue, you stop expecting perfection or permanent relief. Each of these insights helps you navigate awakening with patience and awareness, rather than resisting the natural flow of growth. Awakening is not about becoming someone special or enlightened. It is about becoming real, becoming authentic to the deepest parts of who you are. It is about noticing the patterns you inherited from society, culture, family, and past experiences, and gently but firmly choosing to live in alignment with your own truth. The more you honor your inner voice, the more clarity, peace, and purpose begin to emerge. This does not mean life becomes easy or free from challenges. It means you gain the strength to face those challenges without losing yourself. Another essential aspect of this final truth is that awakening is a lifelong practice, not a destination. There is no point at which you are fully awakened and free from growth or learning. Each day brings new opportunities to confront your fears, release old patterns, and refine your awareness. The journey is continuous, and each challenge offers a chance to deepen your understanding of yourself and life. This ongoing practice is what builds resilience, wisdom, and inner freedom over time. Awakening also brings responsibility. Once you see these truths, you can no longer live unconsciously or allow life to pass by unexamined. You begin to make choices intentionally rather than reacting out of habit or fear. You learn to honor your boundaries, to speak your truth, and to prioritize what truly matters. This responsibility can feel heavy, but it is also liberating. No one else can live your life for you. No external circumstances can dictate your inner peace. Awakening empowers you to take ownership of your reality. Ultimately, the final truth about awakening is that it is about courage. The courage to be yourself fully, to feel deeply, and to live consciously. It is about embracing life exactly as it is, without illusions or pretenses. It is not easy and it is not comfortable, but it is real. And in that reality lies true freedom, meaning, and transformation. Awakening is not a fairy tale or a fleeting state. It is a profound commitment to living authentically, facing challenges with awareness, and growing through every experience. These are the truths that are rarely revealed. But once you understand them, your path becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, and your life becomes aligned with who you truly are.